Today, we're diving deep into one of the most divisive and complex issues in American politics.
50 years of a legally enshrined right to abortion in the United States has been brought to an end.
Abortion. We'll explore the top 5 conservative and liberal arguments surrounding this contentious topic.
Whether you agree with the ruling or not, this is a seismic moment in America.
Briefly touch upon its historical context, and then provide insights from prominent intellectuals and politicians on their respective positions.
This is the horrific reality that Roe sought to end.
Finally, we'll discuss the recent Supreme Court case, Dobbs versus Jackson, and the logic behind the court's ruling.
Life won today, they chant, celebrating a victory after almost 50 years.
So, stay tuned for a nuanced discussion on media in the middle.
Doctors in Alabama who perform an abortion risk up to 99 years in prison.
To understand the abortion debate, we must first appreciate its historical context. Abortion has been a contentious issue since the early 20th century, but it gained particular prominence in 1973 with the landmark Roe versus Wade decision, which legalized abortion in the United States. This decision has been a focal point for both conservative and liberal arguments ever since. Let's start with the conservative perspective. Argument number 1, right to life. Conservatives argue that life begins at conception, and therefore abortion is the termination of an innocent human life. Prominent conservatives like Ben Shapiro often state the right to life is the most fundamental right of all.
Just because something horrific and horrible happened to a woman does not rob the human life of its interest in life.
Now, let's shift to the liberal side. Argument number 1, a woman's autonomy. Liberals argue that a woman has the right to make decisions about her own body. Prominent liberals like Hillary Clinton emphasize women's rights are human rights, and among those rights is the right to make deeply personal decisions about one's body.
Dignity and human freedom, and particularly women's equality.
Moving on to conservative argument number 2, moral and ethical concerns. Conservatives often bring up moral and ethical considerations, citing religious beliefs and the sanctity of human life. Figures like Rick Santorum have stated, life is a gift from our Creator, and we must protect it at all stages.
But nevertheless, a gift, in a very broken way.
Argument number 2 from the liberal perspective, healthcare and choice. Liberals stress the need for accessible healthcare, including abortion services, to ensure women's well-being. Cecile Richards has argued, access to healthcare, including reproductive healthcare, is a fundamental human right.
That access to healthcare should be a fundamental human right. It's not a privilege for the few, the wealthy, the Western, the elite.
Now, conservative argument number 3, alternatives to abortion. Conservatives argue for promoting adoption and supporting women facing unplanned pregnancies. Marjorie Dannenfelser often says, we must provide compassionate alternatives to abortion, such as adoption, to support women in difficult situations. Argument number 3 from the liberal viewpoint, real-world complexity. Liberals contend that abortion decisions are complex and deeply personal. Figures like Kirsten Gillibrand stress, politicians shouldn't interfere with these deeply personal decisions.
This is a battle being waged on all fronts, and that's where we have to fight this fight. In the courts, in the states, in Congress, and in the White House. We will fight back.
They should be left to individuals and their healthcare providers. Moving on to conservative argument number 4, the role of state versus federal government. Conservatives argue that abortion regulation should be primarily left to individual states. Ted Cruz has stated, decisions about abortion should be made at the state level, respecting the diverse values and opinions of our citizens. Argument number 4, from the liberal stance, privacy and Roe versus Wade. Liberals emphasize the importance of preserving the Roe versus Wade precedent as it ensures privacy and access to abortion. Nancy Pelosi warns rolling back these protections threatens women's privacy and autonomy.
The Republican Party, their supermajority in the Supreme Court, American women today have less freedom than their mothers.
Finally, conservative argument number 5, fetal viability. Conservatives argue that advancements in medical technology have pushed back the point of fetal viability, making it more challenging to justify late-term abortions. Senator Tom Cotton has said, "Advancements in science have raised serious questions about late-term abortion." Argument number 5 from the Liberal side, maternal health and safety. Liberals argue that late-term abortions may be necessary in cases of maternal health risks. Dr. Liana Wen underscores, "We must preserve these options for the safety and well-being of pregnant individuals." Now let's talk about the recent Supreme Court case, Dobbs versus Jackson. In December 2021, the Supreme Court issued its ruling, upholding a Mississippi law that bans most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. The court's decision was based on the argument that the state has a legitimate interest in protecting life as it progresses, and the 15-week threshold was seen as a point of viability. This ruling reflects a shift in jurisprudence by allowing states to impose restrictions on abortion earlier in pregnancy, as long as they do not create an undue burden on a woman's ability to obtain an abortion, as established in the 1992 case of Planned Parenthood versus Casey. This decision has ignited debates about the balance between a woman's right to choose and the state's interest in regulating abortion. Its implications for future abortion access and legal challenges remain a topic of intense discussion. And there you have it, a comprehensive exploration of conservative and liberal arguments on abortion, along with actual quotations from prominent figures supporting their positions, a brief historical context, and an explanation of the logic behind the court's ruling in Dobbs versus Jackson. Remember, the abortion debate is multifaceted, and opinions on the matter vary widely. We hope this video has provided you with a nuanced understanding of this complex issue. If you found this video informative, please kindly consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for more in-depth and measured discussions on the most controversial topics of our time. Feel free to leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Thank you for watching Media in the Middle.